the steps in the DIIO checklist. Is this worth it based on the numbers? Is the asymmetry one that, makes sense for me? Do I need to increase my capital position? Should I consider using more leverage? And then I always kind of say, we use stop losses, I think, across the board in DIIO. To not use a stop loss, you have to kind of do that of your own accord. You have to learn your own lessons and kind of like figure out the game for yourself. And if you do amazing without stop losses, more power to you. I definitely can't recommend that to the general group. And so I would say we use stop losses to make sure that we don't get wrecked more than we can handle, right? So in this case, we're going to kind of do some work with P&L, right? So in our case, I like that I can move this on this one. Okay, that's good. So first thing is look down there at the bottom left. You can see the average open price for my specific trade, right? For this number is literally just where my order happened to hit. I wasn't really, being super choosy on this one. I just wanted this demo video to work. And so that happens to be where mine is. With that being said, I chose 5x leverage. So I'm kind of replicating this. My open price, I'm going to type that in right now, right? So 57,635. Okay, so we have that. Now we also know my target take profit, right? So you can always look over here. The green is if things go well, that's your target take profit. The red is if things go south, that is your stop loss, right? At least that's how it works on Bing X. So my close price based on this move, which is not just a guess, it's just based on statistics. It may or may not occur, but it's not based on me guessing. It's based on where statistical buy pressure would come into play, right? Because in this case, if I'm not mistaken, I'm shorting, right? So I'm kind of, my take profit has to be a place where I expect some degree of buy pressure to come into play for people to long Bitcoin, for people to buy Bitcoin, or what have you. I do. It's funny. I see a green expansion monitor dot printing on the 12-minute, right? So you kind of have to ask yourself, depending on how serious the trade is that you're in, do I want to go against the 12-minute expansion monitor, right? Do I want to go against any expansion monitors, right? So it hasn't closed there yet from what I can see, but I do see it's opened and it's orange over a green volatility cloud. So depending on how a person feels, and how much money's at stake, that could be a place to get out. I'm going to leave it open. I've kind of, disclosed that this is not, in my opinion, the best entry, but I think it'll serve the purpose of this demo video, and we'll kind of just take it as it goes. And maybe I get a chance to show you a limit order if it looks like it's getting too unruly. I'll show you how that works, right? Because pretend that it was more money at stake. You can either set it and forget it, or based on how you got into the trade, which was, I know this isn't my favorite entry, but I'm going to do it anyway. You could manually close out sooner, right? But in this case, I'm just going to leave it. I'm willing to lose 12 bucks for 137 bucks. Okay, so with that being said, we now have our open price. We have our target, right? The close price where I want to close this trade out is my target. Oh, good, it didn't reset my data. It is a short, right? It is not a long. Because it's 5x, I'm not going to worry about my liquidation price. If I was dealing with 15x, 20x above, maybe if I was dealing with a super volatile altcoin, I would look at liquidation price and decide, do I really want to do this? But I'm not worried about getting liquidated with Bitcoin. I could manually stop out before that. And as you can see, we do have a stop set, so I'm not worried about that. And then enter amount. I like to, there it is. Jeez, took long enough. I like to just work with what I know very easily. So I like to change my amounts to, the USDT version. and then I'm able to calculate, right? So that obviously is the pre-leverage amount. So I know that because I know my target take profit was a bit higher, right? Not a lot higher, but it was like $140. So I know that this wants me to give it the value of the total position size, right? It is not looking for my margin. It's looking for the total position value, which is over here, 49.90. So let me adjust that, 4990. And so now this is accurate, right? Now it's saying, okay, if your move comes to fruition, you would make 137 bucks. Now, I did this as a demo, and I knew what I wanted to, the numbers that I wanted to see on the screen, win or lose. I wanted to be able to narrate with zero stress. I don't have a position going up or down, $100 in 5 seconds. I'm not going to play that game with a narrated video. Although, rest assured that you could like 10x this position size, right? You could either 10x it with leverage, or you could 10x it with actual capital. And if this were 10x, we'd be at 22 bucks already, right? We'd be at 44 bucks before you know it. But in this particular tutorial, we're just going to do it with 1,000 real dollars. The exchange is treating it like 5,000 real dollars. And Bitcoin right now is a bit docile, but we are just simply testing fib retracement 1. Okay, so that's it. That's how you calculate it. Now, what's valuable about this particular calculator and why I bring it up is it gives you, the P&L. And so you're able to kind of look and have an idea. Notice it says this calculation is for reference only. Why does it say that? Because the reality is you're going to run into slippage, fees. You may choose to market order. That could easily affect everything. But it's just saying, based on the math, this is about what you're looking at, right? So what you could do is you could say, well, I have $1,000, but I'd like to make more, right? And I know that, I could do that with leverage. So maybe if you're specifically wanting to work with $1,000, you could literally ramp it up to 20, right? And then you could calculate. Now you probably should go into the liquidation area and go and check it out. But what you'll notice is this changed your initial margin requirement quite a bit, right? To get this same result. Now you only need $250 to get that same result. And so the difference is there, right? So now you can kind of look at it and say, well, if that's the case, then I want to like 4x this, right? So my position that I'm kind of getting BingX to understand that I want to work with is actually 20,000. And so now I can say, okay, so with $1,000 of real dollars margin, right, like money that I'm going to put on the line, I can actually play a game where my goal is $550, right? My absolute value goal is $550. And so I can kind of play that game, and I can decide, do I want to play the game with 20x leverage so that I can make that kind of money? The thing that I need to consider, the only other thing, right, that I need to consider is with that game, I need to realize, see, there's that orange, and I'm gonna show you guys the limit order, right? Not panicking, but I'm gonna show you a limit order. If I wanted to do it, I would do it right here, right? And so this would be what a limit order would do, and it would get me out at 719. But just like a limit order on the entry, it would get me out at 719 only if people were willing to buy there, right? So if the move happens too quickly, and I'm really afraid, and this isn't, $7, this moved up to $300 really quickly, and I really wanted out of the position, it might be in my best interest to do a market order, even though it's more expensive, because a limit order could just sit there unfilled, right? So depending on if you're trying to get out to save yourself, and you're willing to pay extra money to do so because the larger position is that valuable, or whether you're just wanting to get out because it just seems like it's not going in your favor and you don't want to pay a bunch of extra fees you could do that, right? So in this case, it is the latter, right? It's the latter for me. I kind of want to get out. If this were a larger trade, I would want to get out. And so I'm going to say limit order. And then I would say, what if I did, let's just kind of like show what it looks like, right? What if I decided to get out at 57,689, right? So 689, where I only lose $5, right? So if I wanted to get out with minimal fees where I only lose $5, then this is how I would do it. And then I would confirm. Now, I have a stop loss already, right? So my real order has a stop loss, but now it's also going down to where if I can get out for $5, I'll abandon this trade for the purpose of going into this trade, right? So I'm actually going to go ahead and like let it ride because I think anything's still possible, but I just wanted to kind of show what that looks like, right? And we do have expansion on the 12-minute. And so this is like a place where if a person had serious money on the line, they could decide to get out with minimal casualty and then take it to the next trade, right? And then technically this one, if we're right about the direction, this one should actually be slightly more probable, right? So possibly increase the leverage, possibly increase the position size. This one, even more so, right? So if it gets this far, it might be wearing on you because you've abandoned 2 trades, or you've bailed out of 2 trades, or you've lost 2 trades. And so you're like, gosh, I don't want to lose the third time. And just kind of ironically, this one has even higher odds of actually being the one that works, right? So it's kind of interesting. If you read some of Nassim Taleb's books, actually talk about that. I think I've read that in just numerous trading type, statistic type books. So something to consider, right, is sometimes as you get higher, your probability of success, if you're right about the direction, will actually grow and increase. And so you might consider a larger position, right? And so that's something to consider. So in our case, we're still here. We're still messing with this trade. We're willing to ride it out. If I start seeing things turn orange, I will just go ahead and execute a market order, or not a market order, a limit order, and see if we can kind of just see what that looks like. Yeah, we're orange on the 5, so I'm just going to do it. This is a cool demo anyway, so I may get stopped out. Let's see what happens first, right? I'm either going to get stopped out, yeah, oh, I might get stopped out there, or my limit order is going to hit. I'll see if I can get my limit order to hit because it'll save me a little money versus getting stopped out, right? So I'm at $8.50 or so. Boom, I'm out without the market order fees, right? So just simply by getting out, with a limit order, even if I have to drag it up a little closer to the price action, I save a little money on fees, right? And now I think